This is a set of the Minolta CLE, which cost me under 1,000 US dollars, which is relatively cheap. Actually, I paid around 750 US dollars for this, including a whole bunch of accessories. And actually, I bought it from a local auction, which included 2 huge boxes of cameras. And I will just go over all the accessories that I have, and also I'm going to compare the Minolta Summicron lens with all the Leica Summicron lenses that I have. So I'll just go through everything with you guys first. This is a CLE body, which is in very mint condition without any dent. And when I buy this from the website, actually the picture they took was only showing that the CLE was mounted with a 40mm lens. I didn't really realize that I have all these accessories available, but the starting bidding price was actually around 200 Canadian dollars, which is super cheap. So I compete and bid with another guy all the way to 850 Canadian dollars, and with commission it's almost $1,000. But for Minolta CLE with a 40mm lens, it's actually worth a bit over 1,000 Canadian dollars, which is still a good deal. And after I brought all the boxes back home, and I actually see this huge camera bag in the box, and I was thinking that for this camera bag, it's actually very clean. I'm thinking maybe there are some useful accessories inside, and luckily I found 2 more lenses, which means that I actually bought a full set of Minolta CLE with flashlight and all 3 lenses in nice condition, and also the camera body for 750 US dollars, which is equivalent to 1,000 Canadian dollars. And for all these little caps, they're all Minolta original with Minolta logo on them for basically everything. And what I find interesting with the Minolta CLE is actually for the lens hood. It's a rubber lens hood. It's very different from the Leica ones. I'm going to compare it later. So I'll just show you guys all the lenses first and all the accessories. So here is actually the 40mm lens, which is in the photo that I see. But for these 2 lenses, they're actually might just surprise me. So they're actually in the original Minolta leather bags, and this one is a 90mm lens with original caps and also original hood without the UV filter, but the UV filter is actually in the camera bag. So I'm thinking that maybe the previous owner, he didn't ever use this lens. And so another lens, which is actually a legendary lens, is a 28mm lens, which is very famous. And when I find this lens, and it was actually has moisture on the front element, that's why I sent it for repair, and it's very costly to repair that because they need to open the internal elements. Of this lens. And it cost me around 150 Canadian dollars. And because this lens was so sharp and so legendary, and they actually modified this lens into this small camera here, and by reducing 1 aperture. So the largest aperture on this lens is 2.8, and they want to fit it into a small camera. That's why they reduce it to 3.5. And I love this camera. It's very convenient. I'm going to do a review about this camera later. So with all 3 lenses, it's already worth the money, and I still find this in the bag. It's an original flashlight with some signs of use, and I can just mount it onto the CLE. And actually, this camera can sync the flashlight up to the speed of 30 while I just manually change the shutters. And also, if I leave it on automatic and switch it all the way to the aperture 11 or 16, it will automatically activate the flashlight for me. But I still need to manually turn on the camera and also manually turn on the flashlight. And I'll show you guys. Let's see. Yeah, that's how it works. There's a manual switch for that. And you need to put 2 batteries underneath. And also, I found a whole bunch of accessories in that bag. I'll just explain it to you. That's why I call this a full set. So here's the shutter cable for the Minolta CLE, which looks like a electrical shutter instead of the mechanical ones for the Leica. So you need to put this on the side of the camera and screw it in. So after putting it onto the on position, once the film, leave it on the table and press the shutter. Yeah, so actually I'm using the fully automatic mode, which is, oh no, the aperture priority. So I don't need to worry about the shutter speed, just change the aperture and focus. So I'll unscrew this. And I also found this. So it's a Leica tripod mount in it's almost in mint condition. There are some worn on the box, but it is excellent to have the original packaging. And also, this is the brand new UV filter in the old packaging for the 90mm lens. So it's never touched, it's super clean. It means that I think the owner doesn't like the 90mm lens, that's why he never touched the lens. And here's another filter. I think this one is for the 40mm lens. And I find a whole bunch like that in this. And also, I find this UV filter, it should belong to the Nikon FE, which is also included in the box. And this is the original hood for 28mm lens. It's actually in brand new condition. He never used it. And an old battery from, I remember is from 2012. Yeah, 2012, August 25th. And a cleaning kit. It looks like from the 80s. And also, what is nice about this set, it has the original manuals for the flashlight with a serial number on it, and also the original manual for the CLE. So whenever I have any question regarding to this camera, I can always consult to the original instruction, which is neat. And also, I have some quick guide for the Minolta CLE and also explanation for all these 3 lenses. So they kept everything in the same bag, and I was surprised that I can find all this. And yeah, and also cleaning cloths. I don't know which year it is, but it cost 98 cents for a stack of cleaning cloths. It should be from 90s or 80s. So back to this camera for the 90mm lens. I tried it a bit, but the aperture is quite small. And so if I'm taking a picture indoor, and it's kind of difficult for me. If I mount it onto a digital camera, I need to turn the ISO up to 2000 to be able to use this lens. And what I like about Minolta lenses is actually the hood. It's very interesting. They just put a rubber hood here. So how you use it, just to extend the hood outside. So you can use a hood. It kind of looks like a cleaning tool in the toilet. And this is how you put it back. Yes. I'll just put the 90mm lens away. And also the cables. And this lens actually mounted onto my Leica M240. Oh, actually I mount all three lenses onto the Leica M240 to let you guys see how it looks like for these lenses. And actually my favorite lens is this lens here. Yeah, but actually normally when I use it, I like to remove the hood, because if I put the hood on without using the hood, it's very hard for me to touch the aperture ring. So if you want to remove it, just simply twist it. Then it's off. So look at the size of it. And how they design it is actually the aperture ring stick out a bit. So it's very easy to turn it. And the focusing tab is very different from the Leica ones. I'll just compare with a couple Leica lenses. So this one here is the Leica 35mm Summicron Canada Edition 7 Element, which is a very famous lens as well. By comparing the size, the Minolta lens on the right, they all have the UV filters. So the Minolta lens is slightly bigger, but actually the weight is roughly around the same. And look at the focusing tab. That's why I bring this lens out. So this is a Minolta. They put a small tab here. Once you get used to it, then it's okay. But I use the Leica lenses most of the time. And so I kind of get used to not this one. It's actually for those ones. So here's the first edition of the Summicron, which is 8 elements. So originally they have a infinity lock on it. So whenever you put onto infinity and then it's locked, you need to unlock it to be able to focus. And this is what I used to. And also here is the 35mm 1.4 Summilux version 2, which is also my favorite lens. And this is a typical Leica focusing tab. What is different about the aperture ring is that, look at this. So they only have 2 focusing tab, which allow you to change the aperture. And also for the Summicron is a ring around the whole lens, but the teeth is a bit small. So it's when you turn the aperture ring, your finger will slide a bit. So the same, they make it slightly thicker when they are making the Summicrons in the 80s and 90s, sorry. It's a little bit easier to turn, but not as easy as the 40mm lens, which I like the aperture ring the most. And if you are looking for a Summicron lens to mount onto the Leica camera, for this lens is actually around $5,000. This one is around $2,500. This one is $3,000. And for the Minolta, which is actually a steal, it's only around $500 USD, I think. And for this price range, the best lens you can compare with is actually the Volvic Lander version of 35mm 1.4, which is actually my first 35mm lens, and I still enjoy using it. So by comparing size, it's relatively similar, but this one has 1 stop bigger for the aperture ring and slightly heavier. So those are all lenses that I really like. I enjoy shooting with every day, and I will post a review video about every lens later. And back to this one. If you mount it onto the CLE, which they have a 40mm frame line, then it's okay. But if you mount this onto any Leica M cameras, the 50mm frame line will show up. So you can just kind of use your imagination to expand that 50mm a little bit by imagining where the 40mm is. So what I usually do is that I use the side. Let's assume this is the frame line. I use the side of the 50mm frame line while I'm using the 40mm lens onto the M camera. Use the side frame line to include everything I want to include in the picture. And then everything around it, around the frame line, will be also in my picture as well. Yeah. And recently, I tried a couple of rows with a Minolta CLE. I also checked the review on Google, which is written by Ken Rockwell. He thinks this is actually a cheaper version of the Minolta M7 with the aperture priority function, and it was actually produced in the 80s, and actually way cheaper than M7. And it is very simple to use. So if you want to, let me remove all these lenses, put them aside. So, and also I will post the pictures which I've taken with all the Minolta lenses to show you guys. So this spot is off. So every time if I want to take a picture without looking at it, I can just slide it inside and push it all the way down. It means it's already on. If I push it all the way up, it's self-timer. And advance the film, leave it on auto. So I have aperture priority on. So whichever I choose, and after focusing, I can press onto the shutter. Then it will figure out it for me. If I want to use the manual shutters, I need to press down this button and turn the knob. And also they have the light compensation option. I can just point this arrow to +1 or even to the half stop for this function. And also, so for the bottom, here's a BC button. It means that it's actually for testing the battery. If I press it down, the red light will be on. It means the battery is in good condition. So you can put 2-hour 44 batteries on the bottom. And if you want to rewind the film, just press down this button here and use the rewind knob. By comparing to M2 and M3, it's actually very convenient to rewind the film by using this. That's also part of the reason why I enjoy using the Leica M5. It also has a rewind crank on the bottom, which I like a lot. So after rewind your film, this is how you open it. Just pop this up, and let me just protect my lens. And then turn it so it will pop up. This is how you load the film. I grabbed a roll of expired film to show you guys. So you can simply put your film here and run it all the way towards here and then stick it inside the gap in between. And also be careful to put that onto the teeth here. So what I usually do, I actually shoot the frame 0. I don't like to waste a film because they are kind of expensive. And I just hold my finger there and close it. So I will just put this back, turn on the camera, the film, and focus. Yep. So the film is now loaded and you're ready to go. And after loading the film, you also need to manually set the ISO. If you want to set the ISO, simply pull up the turning wheel here and turn to the ISO you want to change to. So yeah, here is 400 and here is 200. That's how you set your ISO. So this is my first YouTube video. If you guys have any questions, please leave comments below and let me know.